Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
And I'm wife.
Together, we're reading the Bible for the very first time.
We grew up without religion and wanted to know what all the fuss was about.
Well, what have we learned so far?
That God is a dick, and apparently some people believe in talking donkeys?
We're not trying to pass ourselves off as experts.
Nope, we're just reading the Bible for the first time and giving our first take reaction.
If you'd like to join us in this venture, you might consider starting at episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in wherever you like.
All right, let's go read the Bible.
Yeah, let's get to it. Husband!
Wife!
Do you remember what happened on Friday and where the hell we are today and what is today even?
Took you a minute to get there.
I know, I was like, wait,
Yeah.
What is today?
So on Friday, we read Ezekiel chapter 10.
Sure as fuck did.
And in that chapter, Ezekiel once again saw a vision of eyeballs on wheels and fucking wings and crazy shit and four heads. But the four heads didn't match up with the four heads the first time. There was something different. It was a fucking cherub this time instead of a boar or ox. That's right. Yeah. One of the four heads was wrong.
Yeah.
And that was crazy. So we talked about that in our Q&A over the weekend. And then God and the cherubim departed because they're like,
they left.
Fuck, peace out, see you bitches.
God out.
Yeah.
God has left the chat.
You guys fucking suck. Bye.
I'm taking my glory and I'm going home.
That's right.
Yep.
All right. So that was Ezekiel chapter 10.
Sure as fuck was.
Which means that today we're getting into
Ezekiel chapter 11.
All right. Let's do this.
Okie dokie. All right, here we are getting into Ezekiel chapter 11.
All right.
And if I'm not mistaken, this chapter will conclude the this vision that Ezekiel has been having for the last couple chapters.
Okay.
You know, where God picked up his brain and
so he was sitting there in front of the elders, and then all of a sudden he was transported magically to Jerusalem in a vision.
Because he's physically in Babylon.
Right. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So yeah, if I read the notes correctly,
I still wonder what happened with the whole laying on your side for a year and a half, because they didn't really follow up on that.
That was then. This is now.
Oh yeah.
All right. Then the Spirit lifted me up and brought me to the gate of the house of the Lord that faces east.
Okay.
Sure. There at the entrance of the gate were 25 men.
25. Got it.
And I don't know if this is the same 25 guys that were praising the God.
Yeah, right.
Or praising the Son.
It sounds too close to not be, maybe, but
I don't know. It might be a different 25.
Okay.
When I was checking the notes, some said, yeah, it was the same 25, and others were like, no, this is a different 25.
Got it. And they were worshiping some other god, right? Like the ones that were in the last chapter.
They were worshiping an Egyptian sun god.
Got it.
If I'm not mistaken.
Which actually, that would make sense, because if it's the gate facing east, that would be where the sun comes up. So
yes,
that actually does make some sense.
Yep. And I saw among them Jaazaniah, son of Azur, and Pelatiah, son of Benaiah, leaders of the people.
Okay. Yeah.
The Lord says to me, he says, Son of man, you mere human, these are the men who are plotting evil and giving wicked advice in this city.
Okay.
They say, haven't our houses been recently rebuilt? This city is a pot, and we are the meat in it.
I mean, he's not completely wrong.
We cooking.
Yeah.
Why are we cooking?
I mean, they've been treated. I mean, they've been in a bad spot, and they're not wrong.
Therefore, prophecy against them. Prophecy, son of man, you mere human.
Tell them that they're shit.
Right?
But how are you gonna? You're in Babylon. You're gonna prophecy against them from a distant land.
Yeah, I have no idea.
They're gonna give a fuck.
I don't really get it.
All right.
Then the Spirit of the Lord came on me. Ew. And he told me to say, this is what the Lord says. That is what you are saying, you leaders in Israel. But I know what is going through your mind. You have killed many people in this city and filled its streets with the dead. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says. The bodies you've thrown there are the meat.
Hold on just a second. God is pissed off because they're killing people.
Uh-huh.
His answer to that is to kill people.
Yes.
The fuck? This is so stupid.
It's childish.
Like what kind of fucking answer you're gonna criticize them for the same fucking thing you're gonna do, and we're not supposed to question you because you're the sovereign Lord and you're the God of whatever, and fuck cares, man. You're an asshole.
Fear the Lord.
I don't.
Fear.
I don't. He's
they don't
a fucking
either.
Dick.
Obviously they don't either. They've been praising all kinds of gods.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. There's never been any, like, throughout the Bible, there's been very little fear of the God that is in the Bible.
Correct.
It has been certain people who are promoting this God who want them to fear him, but they just don't.
And I'm still going to say...
No more than they fear any other God that they're worshiping.
Right. And I'm still going to say that it's a politics thing, because all of the guys that are like, we should totally fear the Lord, what? They're all connected to higher authorities.
Right, yeah.
They're all related to families that are part of government.
Yeah, well, and these guys are higher up. They're worshiping an Egyptian god, probably. And so, like, there was a lot of ties to Egypt at this point. I mean, we even talked about it after the exile. There was, what, 1 million Jews in Egypt or something?
Yeah,
I mean, there's a fuck ton in Egypt.
Yeah.
So they obviously had very close ties with Egypt, and it would make sense that through politics and through social mingling that they're going to end up worshiping some of the same gods.
Right.
And just that kind of shit makes sense in that context.
Exactly.
But whatever. This God pisses me off pretty much every time we read a goddamn chapter. Sorry. Go ahead.
So God is still talking.
Yeah.
The bodies you have thrown there are the meat, and this city is the pot, but I'll drive you out of it. You fear the sword, and the sword is what I will bring against you, declares the sovereign Lord. I will drive you out of the city and deliver you into the hands of foreigners and inflict punishment on you. Not foreigners. I'd rather be murdered by anybody but foreigners. You will fall by the sword, bitches, and I will execute judgment on you at the borders of Israel.
It really would hold a lot more weight if God himself was actually the one executing these people.
And saying,
and I'm just saying, like, yeah, if he was literally bringing divine judgment down on human beings, that would hold way more weight than what's happening.
And if he wasn't like whispering and going, psst, tell him I said, hey, tell him what I said. Tell him what I said.
It seems to me that he's pretty fucking weak if he can't just do it himself. He hypothetically has done it himself before, but in certain instances when there's written record of what happened. I was
just going to say, isn't it amazing that as soon as they started actually writing this shit down, suddenly God can't do stuff anymore. Weird. Then you will know that I am the Lord.
Yeah.
This city will not be a pot for you, nor will you be the meat in it. I will execute judgment on you at the borders of Israel, and you will know. What will they know?
That he is the fucking Lord.
I am the fucking Lord, for you have not followed my decrees or kept my laws, but have conformed to the standards of the nations around you.
Yeah.
You know, as you do.
Right.
Like, kind of like if you're in America, you drive on the right side of the road, but if you go to England, you drive on the left side of the road.
Yeah, or even Canada. It's right next door to us.
Do they drive on the left?
They do.
I didn't know that.
At least, I mean, that's where we drove when we were up there. So if it wasn't the case, then we were doing all kinds of wrong.
That's funny. No, because when I was in Toronto, we weren't driving on the wrong side of the road.
The wrong side of the road. Listen.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Yeah, that was so ethnocentric. I apologize. Wow. I
could have sworn we were. To be fair, I was there. The last time I was in Canada was before I was even driving. So I thought I remember driving on the left side. I could be mistaken, but maybe it's different per province too, or whatever.
Yeah, they have provinces up there.
So it could be different in different areas too. Maybe.
I know it's not that way in Toronto because that's where I went with my ex.
Yeah.
And there's no way he could have driven on the
that's in Quebec.
Other side of the road.
I went to Ontario, so maybe Ontario's different.
I don't know.
One of our Canadian listeners needs to reach out to us and let us know. We could probably just Google it after we're done, but
probably.
It's more fun hearing from our listeners.
I know. I love it when y'all tell us how dumb we are and correct us.
Right?
Yeah, tell us the ways of the Canadian driving. Now, as I was prophesying, Pelatiah, son of Benaiah, died. He just fell over fucking dead.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm Ezekiel, and I'm like, blah, blah, blah. God says blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, holy shit, because Pelatiah just dropped over dead.
Is this supposed to be like some sign that God intervened and killed that dude right then and there?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Then I fell face down, and I cried out in a loud voice, Alas, sovereign Lord, will you completely destroy the remnant of Israel?
Because he killed one guy?
Yeah, well, he's like, Jesus Christ, this guy's just standing here and you fucking killed him. What the hell, God?
He's talking about killing most of them.
That's probably...
And he's worried about one fucking guy?
Well, I mean, but if, like, the remnant is, like, dying right in front of you, wouldn't you be like, holy shit?
But these are people... Okay, he's having a vision in Jerusalem where this is, like, pre-God sending Babylon to them. So the remnant is... who he's with currently in the non-vision time over there in Babylon. Right. So I don't really understand what he...
I think it's suddenly, because it was right in front of his eyes, I think it suddenly sunk in, like, what God is talking about doing.
Got it. Can you imagine if somebody, like, every time somebody had a fucking heart attack and fell over, you're like, my God, what did you do? Right? Like, I can't imagine living like that. Like that's just crazy.
Was this part of your inevitable plan? It sucks. Everywhere I go, people die. What the hell, God? All right. The word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, you mere fucking human. Yeah. The people of Jerusalem have said of your fellow exiles and all the other Israelites, they are far away from the Lord. This land was given to us as our possession. Therefore say, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Although I sent them far away among the nations and scattered them among the countries, yet for a little while I have been a sanctuary for them in the countries where they have gone. Therefore say, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I will gather you from the nations and bring you back from the countries where you've been scattered, and I will give you back the land of Israel again.
Okay, so he's saying that he's treating the people that are in exile right now good. Is that what he's saying?
Supposedly,
because I remember we read earlier that they were going to have houses and they were going to get married and all this other wonderful shit, right? But then why all this? There was a big commotion about how they needed to get back because it sucked so bad under the Babylonian exile.
Yeah, but they never like spelled that out. Like we're supposed to believe that it was like peaches and cream.
But it was there just under the surface.
Yeah, like, we picked up on it. Like, oh, it probably sucked.
Yeah, like until Cyrus took over, until he came in. I think it seemed the way they were talking that things weren't so great. Yeah. Yeah. So this is kind of a lie. Yes. And it's a lie that's propagated throughout this whole section of the Bible. Yeah. Yeah. Which is funny because like it's literal, like they're just trying to rewrite history.
It's propaganda.
Yeah, it's propaganda.
They're like, shh, it's fine. Everybody's fine where it's great.
No, it's fine when they want it to be. It's not when they don't want it to be.
It's the worst. It's the best.
Right. Because Cyrus was the savior, right? Yeah. Why is he a savior if they were being treated equitably and good?
Exactly.
That's you don't need a savior if you're being treated good.
That's true.
So
that's very true. Yep. Well, God is continuing to talk. Yeah. They will return to it, Israel, and remove all its vile images and detestable idols. I will give them an undivided heart and put a new spirit in them. I will remove from them their heart of stone and give them a heart of flesh. Then they will follow my decrees and be careful to keep my laws. They will be my people, and I will be their God. But as for those whose hearts are devoted to their vile images and detestable idols, I will bring down on their own heads what they have done, declares the sovereign Lord.
Okay. Yeah. But it was all of them sometimes. They all did that. Yeah. So, and moreover, from what I understand, it kind of increased with them being down in Babylon and
up in Babylon.
And they were worshiping more different gods and learning, like Zoroastrianism has come up multiple times in our podcast.
Yes, it has.
And it actually seems like it heavily influenced the direction that Christianity went in, like and Judaism for that matter.
Judaism on into Christianity. Yeah. So, I mean, it increased the magic of it.
They definitely did not stop worshiping other gods or getting influenced by other gods at the very least.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Then the cherubim with the wheels beside them spread their wings, and the glory of God of Israel was above them. The glory of the Lord went up from within the city and stopped above the mountain east of it. The Spirit lifted me up and brought me to the exiles in Babylonia in the vision given by the Spirit of God. Then the vision I had seen went up for me, and I told the exiles everything the Lord had shown me. The end.
Okay. All right. That's exciting.
We're done with that vision.
Yeah. Before we hop out of here, I do want to cover real quick, because I didn't cover it in the intro, but we are still doing a Patreon drive to get some more members. We're trying to get to a level where we can start kind of getting some advertising done for our podcast. We want to really spread the word out there, and we need your guys' help to do that.
Yeah.
The advertising dollars that we get with regard to the advertisements that we put up right now don't really pay for a whole lot. So we're trying to get our Patreon level up to about $400 a month, which would really, I mean, it would amazingly help what we need, what we can do with this podcast and where we go from here.
Right.
So if you are able to increase your membership or start a new membership, we have memberships starting as low as $1 a month. And every little bit really does help, guys. I mean, the $1, don't even think twice about, that if that's what you can do, that's what you can do.
And it's much appreciated.
It is very much appreciated. And then for those of you who are out there and have something that you would like to advertise on our podcast, we now have advertising tiers, and there is a free 7-day trial on those so that we can get everything set up without you having to pay anything until that's done. So if you have something you'd like to advertise, maybe reach out to us via email or sign up and then reach out to us through Patreon. And then we can talk about getting an ad up for you on our podcast at those tiers starting as low as $20 a month for advertising. So just hop over there to patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse, or go to our webpage at sacrilegiousdiscourse.com and click on the link at the very top there where we're doing our drive. And we'll see if we can get it all worked out for you. And hopefully we'll see you on the Patreon.
Yes, that would be very cool.
That being said, that was Ezekiel chapter 11.
Indeed it was, my good sir.
And we will be back tomorrow with
Ezekiel chapter 12.
All right. We'll see you guys then.
Bye. Husband.
Wife.
Do you remember what happened yesterday and where the hell we are today?
Well, yesterday we read Ezekiel chapter 11.
Sure as fuck did.
And in that chapter, I think it was God or Ezekiel was talking about all the meat on the ground, which was dead humans, apparently, I think, or something. Or it was humans that were going to be dead. I'm not really sure what that was all about.
We're a pot.
They're a pot, and the meat's cooking inside. And that's what was happening.
You're a pot of meat.
And it wasn't good. He's going to judge them, drive them out of the city, and abandon them and
out of the pot and into the
kill
fire.
Lots of people. But then you know what?
What?
He's going to redeem some of them.
But only
he's going to be nice to a few of them.
But only like one or two, and certainly not that one guy that fell over dead in the middle.
Right? Yeah. There was one guy that just died right in front of Ezekiel in the middle of his vision. Vision. His vision. It was a vision where somebody died. Somebody died in the vision
while he was delivering.
And we believe visions because I actually don't have an answer for that one. So.
Yes, that is what happened.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, that was Ezekiel chapter 11.
Yes.
Which means that today we're getting into
Ezekiel chapter 12.
All right. And before we get into this episode, I do want to mention that we are in the midst of a Patreon drive. We have membership levels starting as low as $1 a month. We are trying to reach a goal for some specific things that we're trying to do for our podcast to move things forward a bit. So if you have the ability to help us out at all, we have membership levels starting as low as $1 a month. Just head over to sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, and we have a banner right at the top tracking our goal and our current level. And then just click through there and help us get this going. We also have advertising tiers. So if you want to advertise on our podcast, check that out too.
And those are limited availability.
Very limited.
Get them while they're there.
Yes. So that being said, that was Ezekiel chapter 11. And let's go ahead and get on into Ezekiel chapter 12.
Okie dokie. All right, let's get into Ezekiel chapter 12. The word of the Lord came to me. son of man, which
Yeah, mere human.
we know means mere
right,
human.
yeah.
Yes, son of a bitch.
Right.
You are living among a rebellious people. Remember?
I do. They've covered this a lot.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have eyes to see, but do not see, and ears to hear, but do not
hear.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
All right, Dr. Seuss. For they are a rebellious people.
Okay, yeah. Right.
Therefore, son of man, mere human, you worm, you son of a bitch, pack your belongings for exile, and in the daytime, as they watch, set out and go from where you are to another place.
But at least he's giving them time to pack their bags. That's nice, I guess.
No, just Ezekiel.
Oh, just Ezekiel?
Yeah, he's telling Ezekiel's going to do another play act.
But isn't Ezekiel already in Babylon?
Yeah.
So why does he got to pack his bags?
Because I don't know.
Right. That's what
I
I'm
haven't
saying.
read this yet.
Okay. All right.
But he's saying these guys think they're going back home and they're not. And these guys think that everything's going to be fine and it isn't.
I feel like that was God talking to the Israelites, sort of.
Well,
ish.
he's talking to Ezekiel.
Right, but he might, like, usually when God's talking to Ezekiel, he's telling him something that he should say to the people of Israel or whatever.
Right.
Or to people that would hear
Okay,
him.
but I'm telling you that he is telling Ezekiel, go pack a bag and you're going to do some play acting for me.
Oh, he's packing a bag to go. Okay.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I'm sorry, I was misunderstanding. I apologize.
I know.
I apologize.
Good.
You were right, I was wrong.
As well you should
Yeah.
be. Yeah. Okay, so he says, as they watch, set out and go from where you are to another place. Perhaps they will understand, though they are a rebellious people.
Yeah, as we well know.
Those
as we well know.
worms.
Yeah.
During the daytime, continues God, while they watch, bring out your belongings packed for exile. Then in the evening, while they are watching, go out like those who go into exile.
Wait,
while they watch.
He's going to enact a play of going into exile? That is so fucking weird. Like, this is what you guys are going to have to do. You're going to have to pack a bag and walk out of the city.
I know.
That's crazy.
Just watch.
This is...
Well, and I'm wondering, maybe did this chapter come before the others and they're not in Babylon yet? That seems weird. I don't know.
Weird. Yeah, I don't. That doesn't sound.
That sounds
But then
like
again, the Bible loves stuff out of order, so
right. So
just never know.
If that is still a question by the end, we will have that as covered
Q&A.
on the Q&A on Saturday.
Yeah.
While they watch, dig through the wall and take your belongings out through it. Put them on your shoulder as they are watching and carry them out at dusk. Cover your face so that you cannot see the land, for I have made you a sign to the Israelites.
What?
Because they're not going to be able to see.
Okay.
So
why won't they be able to see?
I don't know. I'm not there yet.
Okay. All
I don't
right.
know.
Okay.
I mean,
he did say that they have eyes, but they can't see.
Right.
But I'm not sure what it is that they can't see. And if you are walking, you probably...
Maybe they'll be walking at night, or maybe they'll be walking through God's cloud.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
So I, Ezekiel, did as I was commanded. During the day, I brought out my things, packed for exile. Then in the evening, I dug through the wall with my hands. I took my belongings out at dusk, carrying them on my shoulders while they watched. In the morning, the word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, did not the Israelites, that rebellious people, ask you, what are you doing?
I mean, I would.
I'm sure they did.
You're digging through our fucking wall. There's probably a guy that has to repair that fucking wall. And he's like, dude, what are you doing,
you know what?
man?
I'll be honest. If one of my neighbors was acting like that,
Yeah.
I probably would just stay in my house and watch through the window and like record with my phone and be like,
yeah, but they didn't have phones to record back then.
I know. I'm just saying, like, you're like, I would have blah blah blah, and I'm like, no. Even today, I would not do that because I don't want to talk to people. So I would just be like, babe, get a load of our neighbor. Babe, look, he's digging in the wall. Look, oh my God, what is he doing?
But I don't feel like they had as much entertainment back then. So like this would have been high entertainment.
This was their
right?
Netflix.
Yeah, right.
Or their YouTube.
So they'd have been there like, what's going on?
What are you doing?
What's he doing?
What are you
doing, man?
Hey, Zeke, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you up to, man?
Why are you digging through the wall?
Easy K, what's
going
up?
on, man?
What's happening? All right, say to them, says God, in answer to this.
Right.
This is what the sovereign Lord says. This prophecy concerns the prince in Jerusalem, which we covered in previous chapters.
King Zedekiah,
King
right?
Zedekiah,
Right. Yeah.
And all the Israelites who are there. Say to them, I am a sign to you. As I have done, so it will be done to them. They will go into exile as captives.
Okay.
Okay, so is this, again, out of order?
Right, yeah.
I don't get it.
No, I mean, this is
Or
weird.
are they going to get exiled from Babylon?
I mean,
Or
technically...
is he in Jerusalem still in Vision Land?
Well, I mean, he was in the first exile, right?
No, he was in the second. Well, he was in the second wave.
I thought he was in the first, because it was like 590 something.
He was in the second wave.
Okay.
I promise.
But I thought, like, we started, okay. Well, I want to revisit that because...
Yeah, that's fine.
I think that it was said that at some point there was like the 590s that he was
I have
in Babylon.
no idea what the years were. I just know that he was in the second wave in Babylon.
Okay. Okay. All right.
So, okay. I'm going to continue on.
Yeah.
And we'll circle back around to that.
Okay.
Okay, so the prince, the king, among them will put his things on his shoulder at dusk and leave, and a hole will be dug in the wall for him to go through. He will cover his face so that he cannot see the land. I will spread my net for him, and he will be caught in my snare. I will bring him to Babylonia, the land of the Chaldeans, but he will not see it, and there he will die. Womp womp.
Oh, they're gonna die.
They're gonna die.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I thought they were just gonna be exiled.
Nope, they're gonna exile to death.
Okay.
I will scatter to the winds all those around him, his staff and all his troops, and I will pursue them with drawn sword. They will know that I'm the Lord.
Oh, he's specifically talking about King Zedekiah or the prince, whatever, because he doesn't actually know who it's going to be.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yep. So they will know that I'm the Lord. La la la. You know, I'm the Lord. Whee!
Right. Yeah.
When I disperse them among the nations and scatter them through the countries, but I will spare a few of them from the sword, famine, and plague, so that in the nations where they go, they may acknowledge all their detestable practices. Then they will know that I am the Lord. La la la. The word of the Lord came to me, Ezekiel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Son of man, you worm.
Right.
You mere human, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Tremble as you eat your food and shudder in fear as you drink your water. Be afraid. Never be afraid.
Right, yeah.
Say to the people of the land, this is what the sovereign Lord says about those living in Jerusalem and in the land of Israel. Oh, so he is talking to the people living in Jerusalem and Israel.
Right.
This is so weird.
That's what I was saying. So I did some research because Ezekiel was exiled to Babylon in 597.
Okay.
Which is prior to the actual main exile. So
well, the first one was just a scoop.
Right. So that's when Ezekiel was actually exiled to Babylon.
I protest.
So he was in that. You're the one that told us this.
Okay. Well, we all know my memory sucks, but I would swear on Holy Bible that he was in the second exile.
No, he was in the first, and
well,
that's why I was really confused earlier, because I'm like, wait, you not what?
Okay, well, maybe I'm in an alternate universe, because I'm telling you.
All right.
I thought it was the second one, but whatever. Be that as it may, I'm still confused.
Okay.
They will eat their food in anxiety and drink their water in despair, for their land will be stripped of everything in it because of the violence of all who live there. The inhabited towns will be laid waste, and the land will be desolate. Then you will know
that he's an asshole.
I'm the Lord.
And an asshole.
I'm the Lord. Pick me. He's like the quintessential pick me dude.
Yeah.
The word of the Lord came to me. Okay?
Yeah.
Again, some more. Ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Son of man, you mere human. What is this proverb you have in the land of Israel? The days go by and every vision comes to nothing.
Apparently, that's a proverb, huh?
That was a proverb.
Okay. I can see where they would have it, though, because we've talked a multitude of times about all the other prophets that are running around giving their quote-unquote false prophets, right?
Here's my interpretation of that proverb. God talks a lot of shit and he never follows through on anything. Womp womp sigh.
Well, and let's be honest, he gives really shitty. He if we are to believe the God of the Bible is real, right?
In canon,
right? Then he picks some really shitty messengers. Like some dude that sounds like he's on a fucking acid trip. Yeah. Another guy that's wandering around the desert.
Naked.
And then another guy that is a fucking double agent for Babylon.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Jeremiah.
they're literally, so far, we're like 0 for 3 on good prophets.
It's true.
So
it's true.
I'm just not real impressed with who he picks.
So he says to Ezekiel, say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I am going to put an end to this proverb, and they will no longer quote it in Israel.
Oh, man.
Except they wrote it in the Bible, and so it's still read in synagogues everywhere across the country.
Yes.
Across the world.
Right.
Say to them, the days are near when every vision will be fulfilled. For there will be no more false visions or flattering divinations among the people of Israel. Divinations was their use of tools, like throwing the bones or
which is funny because that was actually done by people who were
like Moses,
godly. Yeah.
the Thummim and the Dummin.
Those practices were incorporated into Hebrew practices earlier on in the Bible.
Exactly. I can't remember. It was part of their chest wear. Like they wore those little baggy things on their chest wear. And it was the Thummim and the... I
don't remember exactly.
I can't remember what it's called.
Right, yeah.
But, yeah.
It's just funny to me that, like, even in the Bible itself, the practices and the image of what God actually is has evolved to the point where it's not entirely recognizable by what God was at the beginning of the Bible.
Right. Like, if Moses came to these people, he'd be like, I don't know, let's throw the bones. And they would be like, gasp.
Right.
And they would, like... clutch their little fucking pearl pomegranate seeds.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, what? What'd I say?
Yeah.
But I, the Lord, will speak what I will, and it shall be fulfilled without delay. I mean, lots of delay, but okay.
Yeah.
For in your days, you rebellious people, I will fulfill whatever I say, declares the sovereign Lord. I mean, just because you say you're gonna, and just because you're like, no, I am, though, doesn't I'm sorry. Actions speak louder than words, bro.
But they're like the argument, though, is that God actually did make it happen, right? Because he's prophesizing the fall of Babylon in like the 590s, which is prior to the fall of Babylon. So, and we've talked about this with Jeremiah, but. You know, it was easy to prognosticate what was coming because
all you had to do was pay attention to the politics.
He was already part of the fucking first exile. Yeah. So, like, he was in Babylon, like, probably hearing them plan for this next fucking invasion or whatever. Or, you know, seeing the troops move or whatever. You know, like, it's not that hard to see it coming down the pike.
Well, Jeremiah was a double agent, and you cannot convince me otherwise.
I agree. But, like, I'm just saying that these are not, even at the best case scenario, these are prophecies based on information on the ground. Not from a god, not from anything otherworldly. It is purely based on information from what they hear and see. I
mean, it's kind of like, I use this example every week. I feel like I say, it's kind of like if me and you say, yeah, Trump's probably going to win. It's not because, like, if Trump does win the presidency in the U.S., it's not because, you know, we foresaw and we're magical. No, we watch the news and we live in Ohio and, you know, we can see which way the fucking winds are blowing. And
Right.
Yeah. All you got to do is just pay attention to what's happening and make a good guess. It's 50-50.
Right.
All right. So the word of the Lord came to me, Ezekiel.
Okay.
Son of man, the Israelites are saying the vision he sees is for many years from now, and he prophesies about the distant future. So, you know, like, don't worry about it or whatever.
Right.
Therefore, say to them, I'm going to stomp that shit out right now, says God. Okay. Say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. None of my words will be delayed any longer. Whatever I say will be fulfilled, declares the sovereign Lord. The end.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, he's like, no, I let this shit go too long.
he's getting impatient.
He's getting uppity.
Which, I mean, again, based on the time frame, he does fulfill it according to, you know, everything that does actually happen with regard to the Babylonian armies invading Jerusalem and all that. It's not that far in the future, right? It's pretty soon. So, I mean, that's why people would consider this a prophecy of sorts, I guess. But again,
unimpressed.
Again, I'm not impressed. Yeah, it's not something that is hard to prophesize, and I just don't. I don't understand why we're supposed to be impressed by this guy.
Right.
He had drug-addled dreams, and he prophesied things that were right there in front of his face that anybody could have probably seen.
And he can't tell the difference between a cherub and an ox. So get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry, but no, you lose.
Yeah. All right. You got anything else for us before we get out of here today?
No, that's all.
All right. Well, that was Ezekiel chapter 12.
Sure as fuck was.
Which means that we will be back tomorrow with
Ezekiel chapter 13.
And for those of you who didn't join us tonight on YouTube or Twitch, we are now doing live streams on YouTube and Twitch.
Monday and Wednesday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern.
Yep. And we still do our Discord live stream on Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern. Mm-hmm. So if you have the ability to join us on one of those nights, please do stop by and help support the new thing we're doing here with our live streams. And
go team.
We'd love to see you in the chats and just kind of, have fun. So.
But if you're looking for interaction, we will say 100 times over that Discord on Tuesday is where we stick around after and hang out. So
for sure.
If you're wanting to chat with us, ask questions, criticize, whatever, meet some really cool people, because we just have some great fans over there. I mean, they're just the best people you could ever meet.
Yeah. No, it's a great community.
Yeah.
I mean, top notch.
So that's Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern on Discord is when we stick around for chatty poo.
That's not to say that we don't communicate some within the YouTube and Discord or YouTube and Twitch, but it's minimal at best, I would say.
Yeah.
So we look forward to seeing you guys there on Wednesday if you're able to make it, or Tuesday. Tuesday or Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And then we'll be back tomorrow with Ezekiel chapter 13.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Wife!
Do you know what we did yesterday and where the hell we are today?
Well, yesterday we covered Ezekiel chapter 12.
We sure as fuck did.
And in that chapter, Ezekiel had to pack his bags and...
He had to scamper.
And then he dug a hole in the wall. And
as you do.
And he left Jerusalem as a performance. Mm-hmm. But I'm not really sure how he was in Jerusalem because I thought he was in Babylon.
Oh, he was. And
you got some information about
have some information, and somebody owes me an apology.
I'm sure I was wrong. I'm always wrong. Well, we do an episode where I'm always wrong.
That is true. But 99% of the time I'm wrong, and I'm like adamant.
Yeah.
And this time, like, I literally went back and listened to the timeline that we covered in chapter 1, and Ezekiel was in Babylon. He was taken there during the second wave.
Okay. Yeah.
And we specifically covered that in the timeline in chapter 1. Okay. It's like within the first 10 minutes of the episode.
Got it. So you were definitely right then.
Yes, I was definitely right.
I got one more correction to throw out there.
Okay.
You were right one more time.
Oh, was I?
You were right twice yesterday.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Canadians do not drive on the left side of the road. They drive on the right side. I was mistaken. I said in the podcast episode that when I was up there, I was a kid and I wasn't actually driving, but I could have sworn we drove on the left side of the road. But it was probably just me looking at the metric system and getting all kinds of fucked up. So
see, and like I said, I knew in Toronto that they drove on the right side of the road.
Yeah.
So I was like, unless they do it different province, you are wrong.
I was wrong. You were right twice yesterday.
I really am okay with the world exploding right now because I've reached peak wifeism.
All right. So yesterday we read Ezekiel chapter 12.
Yes.
Actually, real quick before we get into that.
Yeah.
So we're on our Discord tonight. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to wait for this episode to do this because I'm really grateful. and it really does mean a lot to us, guys. So I just wanted to say this out loud that we are doing a Patreon drive right now, and we're trying to get to a $400 per month level on that Patreon to take care of some things as far as pushing our podcast forward with regard to advertising and different things like that. And one of our current patrons and one of our current Discord friends, Brady, upped their donation level by $5. And I just wanted to say thank you so much. We really appreciate you, Brady. You are more than just someone who contributes to our podcast. You are a really great friend, and we love having you around. So we really, really, really appreciate you. And
that's a fact. I mean, even without the support, the fun that you give us in the Discord, like,
you're amazing. You're amazing.
You are like the bee's knees, my man.
Definitely. So that being said, today we are getting into Ezekiel chapter 13.
Yes.
Are you ready to do this?
I am. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Okie dokie. All right, we are back and jumping into Ezekiel chapter 13.
Okay.
Easy, Kyle. Here we go. The word of the Lord came to me.
Did it?
It did.
Okay.
Okay. Me being Ezekiel, and now I'm quoting God.
Okay.
I, Ezekiel, am quoting God. Okay.
Got it. Yeah.
Son of man, ya mere human, ya worm. As we know from previous chapters, that's what he means.
Yeah. Yeah.
Prophecy against the prophets of Israel who are now prophesying. That's a goddamn
that's
mouthful.
A lot of profiting and wow.
Prophecy against the prophets who are prophesying.
Okay. So he's going to prophesy the fate of the prophets that are profiting in.
They're profiting from their prophets.
That's a lot of, I can't.
It's not good.
So anyway, there's a prophecy coming.
Say to those who prophesy out of their own imagination, hear the word of the Lord. This is what the sovereign Lord says.
Okay.
He says, I says.
So again, these prophets are going to have to take the word of Ezekiel that God is speaking through him to them.
Because God can't get on the bullhorn and talk to them his damn self.
Right, even though hypothetically they are also prophets.
Right.
According to them.
According to them, but not according to the Yahweh guy.
Right, who is only speaking through Ezekiel.
Right.
Okay, I'm clarifying, that's all.
Yes,
okay.
You understand the right of it.
Got it.
Okay, so he is telling him to tell him that he said to tell him, woe to the foolish prophets who follow their own spirit and have seen nothing. Your prophets, Israel, are like jackals among ruins. Goddamn jackals.
Yeah.
You have not gone up to the breaches in the wall to repair it for the people of Israel, so that it will stand firm in the battle on the day of the Lord.
As I recall, Ezekiel was actually putting holes in that fucking wall.
That's true.
And I was talking the last chapter about how the people that saw him doing that would be pissed because they got to go up there and fix the fucking holes that he put in to show them how to leave Jerusalem when they get exiled.
He did it twice. Once in a vision and then once in his little play act thing.
I'm like, dude, stop punching holes in the wall, man.
Yeah. Their visions, God talking to Ezekiel, telling Ezekiel to tell him what he told him to tell him.
Right.
Their visions,
it's very clear
prophets,
so far.
Yeah. Are false, and their divinations are a lie.
Okay.
So just again to differentiate between visions and divinations, the visions are the
eyeballs on the
false assumption that God is talking to you.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the what you're receiving from the Lord, whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Whether it's, something that you see or speech or whatever.
Yeah.
And a divination involves tools like, for example, throwing the bones.
Yeah.
Which we
talked about it before also. Like they did that a lot back in the...
and the Purim or something like that.
What do you call it first? Again, the words.
Deuteronomy.
Yeah,
The Old Testament, the Pentateuch, the Torah.
The Pentateuch. That's what I was trying to. Yeah, back in the Pentateuch, they threw bones all the time. It seemed like
the law.
They did some divination back then.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. It was good when Moses did it, but
apparently
now it's evil, false, and bad.
Or actually, what was the guy that was right after Moses? The was that he flew up to heaven in the
Elijah
chariot?
Or Elijah?
No. Oh, was it that?
Those were the dudes that
I was thinking. No, I'm thinking of the guy that who was the one that knocked down the wall of Jericho.
Oh, Joshua.
Joshua, that's what I'm thinking of.
And
They
I only know it because of that song, Joshua fit the Battle of Jericho.
They definitely threw bones in Joshua.
They did.
I remember that specifically because they were standing in one of the cities and they did that.
Yeah, yeah. So they did divinations and that was fine.
Yeah.
But we don't do that anymore. And somewhere along the way, it just became, why are you doing that shit?
Right, don't do it.
Never.
Right.
And I'm like, but sometimes.
Well, but there was also, like, they said early on that saying prophecies is either good or heretical.
Yes.
Because if you're wrong, it's heretical.
Yeah.
If you're right, it's a prophecy.
Yeah. It just depends. So you better hope that the winds blow your way, my friend.
Yeah, so I would imagine probably maybe earlier on the same thing would have applied to divination as far as if you're right, then obviously God caused that to happen. If you're wrong, then obviously you're doing a black art of some type or whatever.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, right.
And you speak with demons and dead people and shit like that.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so God is still talking. So he's like, those bitches lie.
Yeah.
Okay. Even though the Lord has not sent them, they say, the Lord declares, and expect him to fulfill their words. So he's like, they putting words in my mouth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you not seen false visions and uttered lying divinations when you say, the Lord declares, though I've not fucking spoken? So he's like, y'all be going around behind my back saying shit about me.
Right, yeah.
Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says that he says.
Okay.
This is what he says
Yep.
to Ezekiel that he wants him to say.
So
he says.
This is where he's prophesying to the prophets who profited? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because of your false words and lying visions, I am against you, declares the sovereign Lord.
Okay.
And I think that he told them, and you got to sing it just like that.
Is that what he...
I am against you.
Yeah, right.
My hand will be against the prophets who see false visions and utter lying divinations. Lying liars.
Okay.
And the lies who tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, lying liars and wait, how did...
I don't remember.
It's Franken. What's his name?
Al Franken?
Al Franken. He wrote a book. And
Lies and the lying liars who tell them?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Yeah.
Lies and the lying liars who tell them.
Right,
yeah. I love that title.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. They will not belong to the council of my people or be listed in the records of Israel. Oh, that's big business.
Because when we covered that before, when they don't list in the records, that basically means they're erasing all
their history.
And
that whole family.
Yeah, like your whole line of family.
Yeah.
It's not just that they're not going to list your name, but like your entire familial name.
Yeah, your progeny is like gone from the culture. Like,
yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, you're cut off.
Right.
I mean, that's basically fancy words for saying bitch bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nor will they enter the land of Israel. Oh, womp womp. No promised land for you.
Wait, aren't they already in Israel?
No, now he's talking to them. They're back at the... Okay, so remember in the last chapter, the vision ended and then... he went back at the river.
Oh, so like he's talking to the elders that are sitting there in his house that were prophets.
Exactly, the elders.
Oh, okay.
And that was like 3 or 4 chapters ago that Ezekiel started to have this vision while these elders were visiting his house. And we were like, God damn, you have a house up in Babylon?
Well, it's been a lot of back and forth. I can't keep track of whether he's in Jerusalem or if he's in Babylon because there's been... It hasn't the timelines and the way it's happening hasn't been real clear.
Yeah.
And it's been a little scattered as to how they cover it. So.
Yeah, and without notes, we would be so lost.
Right.
Because not only were we like, oh, you got a house up there in Babylon? That's cool. Yeah. Nice for you. Whatever.
Right.
Doesn't really sound like refugee status or whatever. Like, you sound like you're okay, I guess. And then not only that, but you have visitors. Okay. And then the visitors were the fucking elders. Which you made it sound so casual, like, oh, I guess they just come by, right? And apparently, according to what we read back in that chapter, yes, the elders did come by regularly, probably to hear, hey, what's the haps with that God guy?
Yeah.
So, so he's talking to them now, and he's like, ooh, y'all been saying some shit. Just FYI, God's telling me to tell you that he gonna get you.
Yeah.
Which is what he's been saying, like, this entire book. He gonna get you.
Yeah. Okay.
That's basically the Bible in a nutshell so far is he gonna get you.
I just imagine this message wasn't received well by them.
Right?
Like they all came to his house and they're all sitting there and he's telling them, hey,
I know.
God says you guys are fucked.
Yeah.
And then there's like That tracks.
And then,
is that what happened? Like,
and then he's like, and I have to go to bed now, so please leave. Good night. Bye.
Right.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, please don't kill me.
Yeah.
Then you will know that I am the sovereign Lord.
Okay.
Because, he always got to add that.
Yeah, sure.
Because they lead my people astray, saying peace when there is no peace. And because when a flimsy wall is built, they cover it with whitewash. Therefore, tell those jackholes who cover it with whitewash that it is going to fall. He didn't really call them jackholes, but it sounded like a fun thing to say.
Pretty much anytime you interject a cuss word into the Bible, it's not,
I know.
actually there.
I've
gathered that over the years that we've been doing this, that you do that. So.
I do, but I also am trying to just put it out there for new listeners.
Yeah, sure.
That I sometimes add random words.
You do. Yeah.
Rain will come in torrents, and I will send hailstones hurtling down, and violent winds will burst forth. That literally happened to us last week.
Did it? I don't even remember that.
Okay, well, was it a few weeks ago then?
Maybe.
Whenever we had that hail and the strong winds and whatever?
Yeah. But recently-ish, I guess.
Yeah. I said last week, but it was probably like last month.
Right.
What is time?
Yeah.
When the wall collapses, will people not ask you, where's the whitewash you covered it with?
Will they ask that? I would think that would not be the first thing I would ask as to where the whitewash is.
Where did it go?
The fucking wall just collapsed. I'm not asking about the whitewash. Why would I ask about the whitewash?
But my paint job. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says.
Okay.
He said, this is what he says.
Okay. Yeah.
In my wrath, I will unleash a violent wind, and in my anger, hailstones and torrents of rain will fall with destructive fury. So he's like, remember just then when I said I was going to bring a storm? So now tell him I'm going to bring a storm.
I find it interesting, unless this is just like symbolism for Babylon invading, but this is a natural disaster. This is not God using Babylon as a tool to destroy Jerusalem.
Now, see, I actually read in the notes, and I didn't think to jot it down because it didn't seem important or relevant.
Okay.
But now that you say that, apologists are saying that, the storm is symbolic for the Babylonian conquering thing.
I'm going to push back a little bit because in Ezekiel specifically versus other prophets that we've read so far, Ezekiel is very vague as to how these prophecies are going to transpire.
Yeah.
And they often involve not saying exactly how it's going to happen. Right. So like he leaves it open. There is some type of thing that's going to happen. Right. That's going to destroy the walls and or the people and what have you.
And it might be like a storm. It might be a storm. It might resemble a storm.
Right.
It could be a storming of bad guys that get us.
But it just strikes me that why are some prophets able to prophesize directly about what's going to happen, and some have to be very vague and use a lot of symbolism? Like why are there two different types of messages that God is sending to these people? Because Jeremiah was in the same basic time frame as what Ezekiel is.
Okay, so I can answer that if we're going with the obviously God doesn't exist, right?
Sure. Okay.
So if we're going with that, here's why. Because Jeremiah was very specific, right? But he was not part of he was not a prisoner in Babylon. He was a double agent on the free mostly.
I mean, that's the idea that we came up with. Yeah.
So he knew what was happening in both places because he had family in high places in Jerusalem, and also he was in direct words with Babylon.
So if we're to take if we're to give them the benefit of the doubt, right? We could say that Jeremiah was just a double agent, right?
And he could read the winds easier.
And he could, because he's in Jerusalem and he could see what's happening. And then Ezekiel,
so he was able to be more specific,
right? But then Ezekiel is in Babylon, prophesizing what's going to happen in Jerusalem,
and he's only got that part of the story,
right? But again, it is God telling him to say these words that are going to happen, and hypothetically, according to the Bible, the same thing was happening to Jeremiah. So I mean, it's still the word of God prophesizing these things through the prophets. And so that's where it gets a little, harrowing as with, muddled with regard to the message.
I was giving the actual real answer, and you were asking like why can't God deliver better messages? And I was like, because God isn't.
Right. I'm saying in canon, obviously.
Canon, right,
Not
right.
we obviously don't believe that God exists. So,
Right.
but we're trying to give this the sense that we're trying to
If we
sometimes
take it
allow.
at its word.
If
Sure.
we take it at its word, how does that work?
Right.
Okay.
And in essence, it doesn't.
Right. Yeah.
It just doesn't.
Yeah.
All right. So God is still yakking.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I will tear down the wall you have covered with whitewash, and I will level it to the ground so that its foundation will be laid bare.
Okay.
When it falls, you will be destroyed in it, and you will know that I am the Lord.
Such a friendly bit of a
He's so sweet.
terror that's going to happen there.
He's so sweet when he kills
Yeah.
his own people.
Right.
Aw.
Yeah.
So I will pour out my wrath against the wall and against those who covered it with whitewash, because murder is fun and I love it. I love killing people. Fear the Lord.
It does seem to have to happen quite a bit.
He always says, fear the Lord. Never
does.
not be afraid.
Never not be afraid. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I will say to you, the wall is gone, and so are those who whitewashed it, those prophets of Israel who prophesied to Jerusalem and saw visions of peace for her when there was no peace,
How dare they see peace?
declares the sovereign Lord.
It's the. I mean, obviously, he's saying it's a false message, so
Yeah.
they don't like false messages in the Bible. So
Right. I'm like, why you gotta be so murdery? You could prove your point and get so much more love and fear for you
yeah.
if you weren't such a dick.
Well, and if you presented yourself outside of, like, again, we've talked about this multiple times, but like if you presented yourself outside of prophets who are a bit unreliable,
Right.
maybe people would be more inclined to believe that you exist and actually fear you, right?
Why do you keep picking weirdos as your reps?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's really odd. We've found many faults with the three prophets that we've read about thus far. Well, the three prophets that we've read about post the time of Moses and everything. So
It's almost like God doesn't have a good plan
well,
in canon.
yeah, it does seem a bit like that sometimes. Yeah.
It's almost like God can't tell the future and doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. and you know, he has changed over time. We've
Definitely.
seen that.
Definitely.
So it's almost like when people say that God is steadfast, that he's not.
Right.
And also that, like, he changes his mind a lot and relents and repents. And, you know, it's almost like maybe God, if God is real in the Bible, it's almost like the people that wrote that shit down wrote it wrong.
Yeah. That could be. I mean,
Or-
there's definitely going to be some human error when humans write it. So
Or if they were, like, led to write it magically by God in canon,
Yeah.
it's almost like God is a braggadocio and was like, hey, put this in there. Put how I got a big D. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Make sure they all know.
yeah.
Okay, I'm continuing now. He's still going on and on.
Okay.
Now, son of man,
You mere human.
you worm,
Yeah.
set your face against the daughters of your people who prophesy out of their own imagination. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, he's going after the women's now.
Oh, well, because that tracks.
Yeah, the
Why
prophet.
not? Yeah.
The prophetesses.
Well, I mean, he is angry at them because they always have those Asherah poles around and stuff. So
Yeah.
you know.
Well, yeah, but
a big
he's not
no-no.
going after, like, just women in general. He's going after specifically the prophets that are women.
That's interesting to me, actually, because I don't know that I've actually specifically heard that there are women prophets
Right.
thus far in the Bible at all.
Prior to this, we heard of a witch, the Witch of Endor.
Sure.
We've heard of enchantresses.
Right. There was also Moses' sister, which she was kind of important. And
Wasn't her name Muriel or Miriam?
that sounds about right. And then God made her not be able to speak ever again.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Because he's a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so there were women. We just don't give a shit about them as usual.
Generally, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, prophecy against those bitches and say, this is what the sovereign Lord says. You know, tell him I says, woe to the women who sew magic charms on all their wrists and make veils of various lengths for their heads in order to ensnare people. Those witches.
Probably because they they're dripping with honey and stuff. Remember?
Oh yeah, those honey licking.
They're ensnaring,
they got the honey covered lips.
They're ensnaring them with their sexual wiles, and
they're honey covered lips,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oh, they nasty.
they're gonna make you walk that crooked path.
Will you ensnare the lives of my people but preserve your own? I mean, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that is what I will do. Yes.
Sure.
You have profaned me among my people for a few handfuls of barley and scraps of bread. Ooh, he's like, you sold your soul for such a low price.
Right, but he's not even talking directly to them.
Right.
Like, he literally has not said these words to them.
Right.
So he's saying this through Ezekiel again.
Mm-hmm. He's like,
maybe,
Ezekiel, go tell them that they should have charged higher prices. By lying to my people who listen to lies, you have killed those who should not have died and have spared those who should not live.
Okay.
I don't really
how
see that.
have they spared who should? I mean, like, it's not up to them to make those decisions, right?
Well, okay, what he's saying is you led them astray, and therefore these people, obviously these men can't be helped. They would have been fine.
They've had that theme has run through the Old Testament quite a bit, and I do not like that at all.
The men are fine. It's the women leading them astray. Men are just mere monkeys.
Yeah.
They cannot help themselves. And therefore, as I always say, I will agree with you. If men are monkeys and cannot control themselves and can't help it, they should not be in power or have driver's licenses or be allowed to vote because they're just monkeys. They can't help it.
Right.
Those poor...
I'm inclined to agree with you generally.
They just can't help it.
Yeah.
They see a woman and they go, and they got to go get it and hit it.
I'm very proud of the fact that I'm able to think on my own and come to my own conclusions and create my own actions based on my own morals.
It's almost like you're not a monkey and that you can help it.
I endeavor to be, just me.
Right.
And I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
So thus far.
But throughout the Bible,
if it changes, I'll let you know.
This whole book is just like an apologist for men being rapey, nasty fucks.
It does seem that way sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. So this again is those men would have been walking the straight path had these damn bitches not led them astray.
Right.
And I'm like, maybe they were already astray and that's how they found the witches.
Yeah, I would imagine, yeah.
You don't just like walk down the street and trip over a witch like, oh, hey, while you're down there, can you throw me a spell?
They know that they got to walk down, that dark alley to find them. So they chose to walk down that dark alley first.
They knew where they were going. Yeah. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says.
Okay.
Tell him what I says.
Yeah.
I am against your magic charms with which you ensnare people like birds, and I will tear them from your arms. So you led them astray, you damn bitch, so I'm going to kill them.
Yeah.
And it's your fault. Not me, the murderer. It's your fault.
Yeah.
And not their fault because they were tricked, but I'm still going to kill them anyway.
Why are you making me kill the people that you led astray and you? Because what?
Woman.
What? Maybe you just don't kill them.
Right? Like, hold on. Let's untangle this. Don't murder.
Right. And
it's like one of your commandments.
You literally have told us, God, in the Bible, in canon, has told us that he has the ability to change people's hearts. Change their fucking hearts.
Yeah.
Don't kill them.
Yeah.
Send them a message. Show them that you're powerful. Show them something.
Let's be problem solvers.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I will set free the people that you ensnare like birds. Why we got to be ensnaring birds all the time?
I don't know.
I will tear off your veils and save my people from your hands, and they will no longer fall prey to your power. Oh, so they got power. That's cool.
He said that. Yeah,
wow.
Right?
He's granting them power. That's kind of cool.
They probably were influenced by Lilith or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Lilith, the ultimate she-male.
Yeah.
She got it.
Right.
Then you will know that I am the Lord.
Will we?
Well, you know that?
I
said it
only because Ezekiel told us, but
100 times.
Not
per
because
chapter.
you told us.
Right.
Okay.
Because you disheartened the righteous with your lies when I had brought them no grief, and because you encouraged the wicked not to turn from their evil ways and so save their lives, therefore you will no longer see false visions or practice divination.
Okay.
Hold on.
Wait, so they were seeing visions?
I was seeing visions. Therefore, in my mind, like if I'm seeing visions, I'm thinking surely they come from God, right?
Well, but God was saying he's going to stop them from seeing visions, right? So he was allowing it before by that line of thought, right?
Yeah.
Why was God allowing them to see false visions?
Right.
And now he's going to stop them from seeing those visions.
And he's punishing them and the people that were led astray by them.
And
And those women, if they were really seeing visions,
Right.
probably really thought that they were seeing God's vision.
Well, yeah, if you see a fucking vision and you live in a time when apparently God is all around or something, like,
and there's prophets running
there's
amok.
prophets everywhere, you're going to think that vision you saw was from God. And if God has the ability to end you seeing those visions, it only makes sense that God allowed you to see those visions in the first place.
Otherwise, he would have stopped it before.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's essentially allowing the thing to happen from these people, and then he's going to kill people for having these things happen to them.
Right. That they can't help.
That's
because, see, I thought that he was saying you're liars and you lie and you made that shit up.
Right.
But what he's just saying is you were having some visions, but that shit didn't come from me, and I'm going to stop that.
right.
And it's like,
right.
hang on. I'm not okay with this, sir.
Yeah.
Like, no.
That's just a bad. That's a bad.
That's the
scenario
whole
there.
thing is not good.
I don't like that. I'm not down with that.
No. So he is going to stop them from seeing false visions or practicing divination. And I'm like, what, you going to break my fingers? I could throw a goddamn bone. What? I will save my people from your hands. And then you will know
that your name is the Lord.
I'm the Lord.
He's the Lord.
I'm the Lord.
Yep.
The end.
Because he stopped it. The thing that he let happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, good job, you.
Good. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So let me ask you this. Was it demons? Was it other gods? Was it like, where did those visions come from?
I don't know. Sometimes they do lend power to demons in the Bible and say that those things are caused by these outside influences or whatever.
I mean, we just literally read about that in our book club on Sunday.
Right. But he's claiming the ability to stop it, which means that he, at some level, allowed those things that, whether it was him or a demon.
Right.
He was aware that they were happening. He allowed them to happen.
Right.
Essentially.
Right. What if it was other gods? Like those little minor gods? Those
Right.
other deities from other
The ones that
places.
sometimes exist and sometimes don't?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So, I don't know. I just feel like these women got a bum rap.
I just don't know how when you have one person telling you the correct message versus like 100 other people telling you wrong messages, right? That
And they're all different.
But they all, he's talking about the peaceful message, right? So it corresponds with peace.
Yeah.
They're telling you a message that corresponds with each other.
Yeah.
And there's one person saying something counter.
Yeah. And he's acting weird and digging holes in walls.
And seeing fucking eyeballs on wheelchairs with fucking angels with 4 heads and yeah.
Boxes and
right. Like,
Sphinx
that doesn't
face.
sound like the most fucking reliable source to me.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the ones preaching peace, honestly.
Sounds better to me.
Yeah. I mean,
you know,
Jesus did.
right.
I mean, I'm not there yet. So
Right, we're not there
spoilers.
yet. We don't know for sure.
Right.
It's-
I've heard that
That's the word on the street.
the things that I've heard about Jesus is that he's all like into peace and stuff. But I don't know. I've also been told that he's too woke.
Got it.
So-
okay. Well, I guess we'll have to see when we get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, the way people think of Jesus has changed dramatically just over the last 10 years. And even prior to that, over the last several hundred years.
Oh,
So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's been a constant change over thousands of years.
Right.
But specifically in our time, in our lifetime,
yeah,
it has definitely changed in our lifetime
dramatically.
as to what
fearfully
that is.
Yeah.
So,
Before, like, Jesus was just kind of weird to me. Like, I didn't get it.
yeah.
And over the last 10 years, I am actually like scared of having a Jesus conversation with people because they literally don't like their own guy.
Sometimes.
And they want to shove his boot up your ass or something.
Right.
And they think that Jesus was not for peace and love and that he was actually for war.
Again, it depends on what denomination you're talking about. But I mean, oftentimes when you're talking about like the
white nationalist,
right-wing-
Republican nutheads.
Oftentimes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So,
Yeah.
do you have anything else to go over tonight? Or?
No, I'm just ranting at this point.
Yeah, all right. So that was Ezekiel chapter 13,
Indeed it was.
which means that we will be back tomorrow with...
Ezekiel chapter 14.
All right, we'll see you then.
Bye. Husband,
Wife!
Do you remember what happened yesterday and where the hell we are today?
Well, we did read Ezekiel chapter 13 yesterday. Mm-hmm. And in that chapter, God was mad at the prophets for spreading false prophecies. Mm-hmm. Essentially.
And then the female ones got their own special mention.
Yeah, but I don't know of any female prophets. We've met a judge in Deborah. We've met Miriam, who is just kind of an important woman. But we haven't met any actual female
prophets. The Witch of Endor.
Witch of Endor was a
witch.
A witch, yeah.
Well, see, I don't know if there's a difference between witches and prophetesses and sorceresses and all of that.
I don't either. But they have not said that they are prophets, and definitely they have said that Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel are prophets. And Moses, I think, or whatever.
Who the fuck ever.
There's been prophets, but none of them were women.
Right.
Yet.
Because women don't
I think
count.
there might be one that's coming up, but I'm not sure.
Women
Possibly.
are just incubators. I hate to tell you this.
In the Bible, that's true, yeah. So they were, I think they also got onto them about throwing bones, and they were not happy, or God was not happy about that at all. So he was yelling at the prophets for utilizing divination and stuff, which, I guess that's not a good thing to do.
Even though it was okay early on when Moses was doing it.
Right. Well, Moses and I think up to at least Joshua, because there was definitely divination happening when they were in Jericho and stuff like that. So
it was before the history started. Once the histories, the Chronicles and the Kings.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they were just still in the early stages.
Yeah, definitely. So anyway, that was Ezekiel chapter 13.
Sure as fuck was.
Which means that today we're getting into
Ezekiel chapter 14.
All right, let's do this.
Okie dokie. All right, we are hopping into Ezekiel chapter 14, giving the big Easy some love, because he's just my favorite prophet.
Ezekiel chapter 14.
Some of the elders of Israel came to me and sat down in front of me. You know the way they do.
They already did that. That was 2 chapters ago.
Well, actually, it was the beginning, too. They're always coming over.
Oh, so they just hang out at Ezekiel's house all the time.
They're always heard from God yet? Heard from God?
They're hey, it's prophet night. Everybody coming?
Are we there yet?
Yeah.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
It's like poker night, but prophets.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Then the word of the Lord came to me, son of man.
Yeah, mere human.
You worm. These men have set up idols in their hearts and put wicked stumbling blocks before their faces.
Wait, now you don't even have to worship actual idols. They just have to be in your heart.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So now you can just be blamed for worshiping idols even if you don't have one.
You're
that's some bullshit. That's changing the rules, man.
I know. All I did was literally open my door and walk out into the front yard, and I got in trouble, and I still don't know what I did.
Right.
Because, somebody accused me and didn't like me.
Yeah.
Should I let them inquire of me at all? Yes, if you are God, right? Is that a legit question?
Right.
Therefore, speak to them and tell them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Because, he's got to say, tell them that I said what I said, I'm telling them.
And now I'm saying it, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
This is what the sovereign Lord says. When any of the Israelites set up idols in their hearts and put a wicked stumbling block before their faces and then go to a prophet, I, the Lord, will answer them myself in keeping with their great idolatry.
So you can have a stumbling block as long as it's not a wicked one?
Well, here's my thing. If you could tell them yourself this whole fucking time, yes, please, that would be great.
Why haven't you been doing that?
I will do this to capture the hearts of the people of Israel who have deserted me for their idols. Why do you think they deserted you? Because
he hasn't fucking answered any of them, ever. In fact, what he's done is kill the fuck out of them over and over and over again.
Yeah.
He kills them all the fucking time.
Exactly.
That's the whole Old Testament.
Exactly. Actually, I just saw a movie trailer, and it's for a documentary, and it's the story that basically inspired the story that... was the movie Zone of Interest, which was one of last year's Oscar nominees.
Okay.
And it's about this family who lived like right next door to Auschwitz, but they were just like this normal, like upper class family. And it was just this odd juxtaposition of like right next door, like on the other side of the wall, people, Jews, were literally being, executed, gassed to death and stuff. And so that's what the movie's about. And then the documentary is showing the actual people in the story. And the commandant's son is coming to meet some of the Jewish people who were part of the story.
Okay.
Impacted by what was happening.
Yeah.
And one of the ladies, the Jewish lady, says, we're God's chosen people. He keeps choosing us. I wish he would choose somebody else.
Right? Yeah.
I know that was a long-winded story to get there, but I just, I heard that quote stuck with me. I really wish he would choose somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, like, if I was Jewish and, in these times for sure, and definitely I can see how that relates to the Holocaust and everything too. Mm-hmm. But, like, I would definitely be like, yeah, God, just back the fuck off, man.
Stop choosing me.
We don't need this much interaction with
I didn't ask for all this.
Yeah, this sucks.
Therefore, continues God, say to the people of Israel, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Repent! Turn from your idols and renounce all your detestable practices. When any of the Israelites or any foreigner residing in Israel separate themselves from me and set up idols in their hearts and put a wicked stumbling block before their faces, and then go to a prophet to inquire of me, I, the Lord, will answer them myself.
Okay, you said that. And right? That's great. Like, you should have been doing that all the fuck along.
Right?
Why haven't you been? Why do you need prophets to tell people who you are and what you want? Psst. If you can apparently talk to them any fucking time you want.
Psst, go tell them. Psst, psst, tell them what I said. Hey, tell so-and-so that I said this.
Right.
I will set my face against them and make them an example and a byword. I will remove them from my people. Then you will know
that my name is the fucking Lord.
That I am the Lord. That's right.
Yeah.
And if the prophet is enticed to utter a prophecy, I, the Lord, have enticed that prophet, and I will stretch out my hand against him and destroy him from among my people Israel.
Hold on, what?
He's coming after the bad prophets.
Okay, but he just said he was going to entice the prophet to do that?
I guess.
I don't quite understand. Is that what he said? He's going to entice... reread that, because I'm a little confused as to why he's going to kill this prophet here.
And if the prophet, the one that's giving false prophets in my name, is enticed to utter a prophecy, so a false prophecy.
Okay.
I, the Lord, have enticed that prophet, and I will stretch out my hand against him and destroy him from among my people Israel.
But he just said right there that he was the one that enticed them.
I honestly don't understand the use of that word in that sentence.
I mean, you could read it to say that he prompted them to offer that false prophecy.
To that person,
and then
because they had false idols. So I get what he's saying.
Okay.
Like last week he was talking about false prophets, right? Yeah. Or not last week, yesterday.
Yeah.
He was talking to the false prophets and saying, I'm going to get you. Today, he's talking to people who practice idolatry with idols and stuff. Idolatry with idols.
Idols in the heart now. Wicked idols and whatever.
Right.
With wicked roadblocks. That's what it is.
And now they're going, whether to good prophets or not, God's going to use the prophets to lead them astray because they were being idolatrous. So yesterday it was fuck those false idols. And today it's fuck my people who also pray to other gods or whatever.
So he's but the fact remains the same, that he is going to take his opportunity to fix a situation and instead make it worse and then kill them because of that.
Yes, that is correct.
That is some fucked up bullshit.
That is a mind fuck.
Right?
That is what that is.
Yeah.
They will bear their guilt. The prophet will be as guilty as the one who consults him.
Okay.
Then the people of Israel will no longer stray from me, nor will... Yeah, because they'll be dead.
What? No, wait. Why will they no longer stray from you? I don't understand. Yeah, okay. He could kill all the ones that stray from him, I guess, right? That's one possibility. It doesn't seem like what's going to happen, but like, what exactly about him making somebody lie to somebody else who doesn't believe in God exactly in that moment or whatever is going on? How does that make other people believe?
It's part of that fear the Lord mentality.
I guess, but like we've talked about this before, it doesn't feel like these people fear this Lord specifically more than other lords.
Right.
Right? Like they worship other gods.
Right.
And so why would they be that scared of this God versus other gods?
Well, this one's specifically saying to them, I am going to get you.
He's not, though. He's saying it to Ezekiel, and then he's telling the prophet that they go to seek help from wrong information to give to them so that he can kill both of them, maybe? I don't know.
So they're not going to get the message anyway, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it just seems like he's fucking with them.
Well, he is.
Yeah, why would a god fuck with people before he kills them? Why don't you just kill them?
He seems to get off on it. He seems
agree.
to get off on murder, mind fuckery, leading people astray, tricking them, testing them.
Right, I agree.
He's just not nice.
Absolutely not nice at all.
So then the people of Israel will no longer stray from me, nor will they defile themselves any more with all their sins. They will be my people, and I will be their God, declares the sovereign Lord.
Okay.
He's like, if I just beat them hard enough, they will love me. If I just kill them, then the rest of them will love me.
But also free will.
Yeah.
Right? That's supposed to be a thing, right?
Yeah. Free will, except only choose me or you're dead.
Right.
Like, that's not how that works, bro.
No.
The word of the Lord came to me, Ezekiel.
Okay. Right.
Son of man.
You mere human.
You worm. If a country sins against me by being unfaithful, and I stretch out my hand against it to cut off its food supply and send famine upon it and kill its people and their animals.
Jesus Christ.
You know, as you do. Even if these three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, were in it, they could save only themselves by their righteousness, declares the sovereign Lord.
So, okay.
So even if these three guys, one of whom we haven't even got to yet because he's a prophet, I think he's in the next book that we're going to read. So even if these three guys were in this city, I would still fuck that city up. I'd let them three go.
But why them? What? I don't. There is no point. There's no. There are children in that city. There are newborns in that city. There are people who don't necessarily probably spend a lot of time worrying about gods, but live a decent life.
Yeah.
Those people are all in that city, and he kills them all.
Yeah.
Because he's a petty shit. And he's just like, yeah, that's what I'm doing, except for those three guys, because those are my guys. You know, I'll let my guys go.
I think you understand the situation, husband. I think you get it.
It makes me angry how much, how little regard God has for human life.
Yeah.
Like, he does not give a fuck.
Right.
At all.
Right.
And it bothers me because I feel like a lot of this mentality is trickling into what is now mainstream right-wing Christianity.
Yeah.
And it is dangerous thinking. It is dangerous ideas that you associate with this God that you believe in. And it allows you to just have absolute disdain and very little worth attached to humans.
If you can justify everything that the God of the Bible has done, then you can justify any of your behavior.
Right.
So,
and that's why I don't like this. Like, I feel like this is a big reason why we wanted to read the Bible, right? I know the most popular section is when we get to the New Testament. That's going to be where everybody's going to be bitching at us for getting it wrong, and we're going to be torn apart for having everything. We didn't read it correctly. We didn't understand it correctly. Our hearts weren't open, whatever. And
we came in with an agenda.
Yeah, we came in with an agenda. I can't wait for that one. But I feel like the part that is actually influencing a lot of the politics in our country today, right now, is from the Old Testament that's trickling back into Christianity more and more every year.
Yes.
Because they love the fire and brimstone. They love the hate that goes against different people that aren't part of their group, right?
Right.
And that's what's in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Now, most Christians will tell you that God is forgiveness. God is this good thing, right, over here.
Yeah. Jesus is love. Jesus wants us to forgive each other and try to grow as a person, whatever.
But generally, depending on what group you're talking about, that only goes so far as the group that you have in your church right then.
Yeah.
Because they don't take that idea any further out than that. After that, it's fire and brimstone and fuck y'all.
It's like they have a wall around their church building, and they're like, of course Jesus is love, but I did bring my gun to shoot all the people who try to come into this building who are not part of my tribe.
Right.
Like, okay, you're gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much like your God. Your God is gross. You're gross. Stop.
Yeah.
Just fucking stop.
Exactly. Okay, so God is continuing.
Yeah.
Or if I send wild beasts through that country and they leave it... I choked because it says leave it childless. If I send wild beasts through that country and they leave it childless...
So, like, the beasts are going to eat the children. Is that what we're getting at here?
And it becomes so desolate that no one can pass through it because of the beasts. As surely as I live, declares the sovereign Lord, even if these 3 men were in it, they could not save their own sons or daughters. Fuck those kids.
Wow. So now not only are we are specifically targeting people that have children who have no choice but to do the things that they are actually punished if they go against their parents according to the Bible. And now they're being punished for doing that.
Doing whatever their parents tell them to do.
They're just fucking children. God is just fill in the blank with whatever horrible thing you can think of and go further than dick. Okay? Because God is that. Whatever that next level is, whatever the next level above a fucking dick is.
Well,
actually, maybe like 3 or 4 levels above that.
3 or 4
He's
dicks?
a fucking asshole. He's a dick. He's a fuckhead. Fuck God.
So mad.
Yeah, no, he's killing kids with wild animals. Like, how fucking disturbing is that imagery? It's awful.
Right.
And people read this shit. This and they're like, yeah, God. Go team God.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's killing fucking kids.
Right.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah, no, I can't argue that at all. I mean, our tagline kind of between me and you is God's a dick.
Right,
and, you know, that isn't strong enough anymore.
No, not for this. No, fuck that.
They alone, those 3 dudes, would be saved, but the land would be desolate. Okay, so he's presenting examples of, even then I would still not step in. I would still fuck that shit up.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Or if I bring a sword against that country and say, let the sword pass throughout the land and I kill its people and their animals. So even kittens and whatever. Are we
just like having dreams about how many different ways we can murder people?
And animals now.
Because this is crazy.
Yeah.
This is fucking crazy.
It's grotesque.
Yeah.
As surely as I live, declares the sovereign Lord, even if these 3 men were in it, they could not save their own sons or daughters.
I don't give a fuck about these 3 men. They can fuck off. You're killing people, and saying that you'll save these 3 fucks doesn't mean 2... whatever. Fuck this shit.
Oh my God.
God is a dick. This is fucking bullshit. This is fucking bullshit.
You haven't been this worked up in a while.
No, he's killing... They're fantasizing... This is a human being fantasizing about killing people in a multitude of different ways. And this is a Bible that they tell kids, this is the good Lord. This is the good book. He is fantasizing about murder, mass murder in this book. Holy shit. Fuck that.
Yeah. And this isn't even murdering enemies. This is murdering his own people.
Right. Yeah.
Like, imagine the fever dreams they're having about people who aren't his.
Right? I'm sorry. I know I'm going off here. I think I finally hit a breaking point because, like, it's been murder.
Yeah, the whole time.
The whole way through. It's murder all the way down, you know?
Yeah.
But in this chapter specifically, it's literally just been like a list of different ways to murder people. And I'm like, okay, enough is enough, guys. Like, I can only get I can only let slide so much murder fantasy here. And this has gone way too far.
Okay. Husband has broke.
That's all.
Husband has broke.
I broke. I'm sorry.
I mean, you made it over halfway through the Old Testament before you broke. So, you know, good on you.
Yeah, right.
Good on you. So anyway, they alone would be saved.
Okay. Yeah.
Or, here we go. We got more.
Wait,
Ready?
We got another one.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I send a plague into that land and pour out my wrath on it through bloodshed, killing its people and their animals, as surely as I live, declares the sovereign Lord, even if Noah, Daniel, and Job were in it, they could save neither son nor daughter. They would only save themselves by their righteousness.
Who are those guys again? Noah, Daniel, and who?
Job.
Okay, fuck Noah, Daniel, and Job.
Yeah, honestly.
I don't. Fuck them.
Yeah. Why do they get a pass?
God's giving those three guys a pass, and he's killing everybody else. So I don't care who you are. I don't care what you did. Fuck you.
You're killing kids and kittens. Fuck off.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah. I'm a little. This chapter is really pissing me off.
I noticed. For this is what the sovereign Lord says. How much worse will it be when I send against Jerusalem my 4 dreadful judgments, sword and famine and wild beasts and plague, to kill its men and their animals. Yet there will be some survivors, sons and daughters, who will be brought out of it. So not all the kids, just most of them.
I'm gonna save some of them.
Just most of them.
But I thought he couldn't save anybody. He just got done saying he couldn't save anybody like 4 times.
Yeah.
Through 4 fantasies of killing people. So.
I mean, we still got the Canaanites alive, and he was supposed to have wiped them out in full like 100 times over.
Yeah.
They will come to you, and when you see their conduct and their actions, you will be consoled regarding the disaster I have brought on Jerusalem. Every disaster I have brought on it.
I
consoled.
Okay, let's just take a let's just take a horrible example from U.S. history. Okay, 9/11, right?
Yeah.
9/11 happens. Let's say you were one of the people that made it out of the building that day, right? And let's say God's like, or no, not God. Let's say that Osama bin Laden was like, I let you go. So now you should be consoled. Right? That's not how that fucking works.
Let's go a step further and take that today, the Palestinians or the Ukrainians who are being annihilated by enemies. The ones who survive are not consoled.
Yeah. I bet the Japanese people who had family in Hiroshima and Nagasaki were not consoled when they fucking survived.
Right.
That was fucking horrible. It was horrible.
I'm betting
horrible things are horrible.
I'm betting that they had grief. I'm betting that they had survivor's guilt. I'm betting that they had CPTSD. I'm betting that they are all kinds of not okay. And I'm betting that consoled does not fall anywhere on that list of all of the mental anguish that they are enduring.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You will be consoled when you see their conduct and their actions, for you will know that I have done nothing in it without cause.
Because their conduct and actions make up for the fact that you committed mass murder.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm pausing a lot because I'm trying to process all this. And I'm not happy about it. Just go forward.
Declares the sovereign Lord.
Yeah,
the end.
Okay. I'm glad that was the end. I don't know if I could have taken much more of that chapter.
I mean, isn't genocide fun? We love a good genocide, don't we?
No, it is not.
No.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
I don't know what to say about that chapter other than that was one of the most horrible chapters in Ezekiel thus far, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like it's one thing to talk about murdering people, I guess, in the Bible, because that's a regular phenomenon, right?
And we know it's a thing and we hate it. We call it out regularly.
But it was literally a list of
ways to kill people.
Yeah. It was just like, I might do I don't know. What am I in the mood for today? Plague or swords or starvation? Like, what am I going to do? I don't know.
I might choke them with peanut butter. You don't know.
There's so many ways to murder people. I just can't choose today. I don't know.
Right? I mean,
which one am I going to do?
I could throw some of them in the lake and drown them.
Sure.
I could put a fire over the whole thing. I could make a meteor hit. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not fun, guy.
No, it's not. That's not okay.
Yeah.
And there was no you've listed off no justifications. God has listed off in Ezekiel, whoever the fuck's writing this, whoever's talking, I don't care, doesn't matter. There has been no justification for this listed off that I accept. Yeah. Period.
And I mean, I know the argument is that, well, you're just a man. You don't understand, a mere human, right? And it's like, I am capable of empathy greater than this God of the Bible, apparently. So, yeah, it matters.
Right.
Like, I would never, ever kill children. You know, I just wouldn't.
No, it's horrible. Anyway, I'm sorry. I think we need to, like, get out of this, right?
Let's get out of this.
So let's get out of this. Just a quick reminder. I don't even feel right doing this. We have a Patreon drive going on. It's on our website, sacrilegiousdiscourse.com. We can use your help. Go there. Awesome. We'll see you next week. Or not next week.
Tomorrow.
What is today?
Today's Thursday.
Today's Thursday. So we just got done with Ezekiel chapter 14.
Which sucked.
Which fucking sucked.
Yeah.
We'll be back tomorrow with
Ezekiel chapter 15.
All right. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye. Husband.
Wife.
Do you remember what happened yesterday?
Well, yesterday was Ezekiel chapter 14.
Sure as fuck was.
And in that chapter, God was basically dreaming about all the different ways that he could kill Israelites.
And in that episode, husband was responding to all those ways with every fiber of anger in his being.
I really was, because it's people read this book and they say their God is good. They say their God is the righteous, correct version of what humanity should be.
Right.
This God, this God, the God that they worship, is literally dreaming, listing off ways in which he might kill mass amounts of people.
And specifically, he's fine with killing off kids.
Right.
He specifically says that.
Yeah.
And animals, he's very excited about that. And he's like, let's do this thing.
Yeah, I'm not okay with a God that thinks that planning mass murder is a viable pastime.
Viable pastime.
I'm just saying, it just doesn't work for me at all.
I can't imagine why not.
Right. No, yeah. So to change subjects here for just a moment.
To something
we're
better.
gonna go something better here for just a minute here.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the midst of our Patreon drive right now.
Yes, we are.
And we are trying to get to a $400 a month level where it'll allow us to do a lot of things that we need to do for our podcast. And we have had definitely some responses to it. So we really appreciate everybody that has come out to support us. And today we specifically want to call out somebody who has just got through their free trial and they have stayed on as a patron. So thank you, Bridget.
Thank you, Bridget.
Bridget signed up for Patreon and wanted to let us know that they really enjoy the Asimov Book Club, which I thought I'd bring up because I think at some point soon we're looking to get back to that.
We are. We are headed towards the end of our Jewish folklore.
Yeah.
And part of the reason that we quit the Asimov thing was because he was a sexist schmuck, but also because we were starting to catch up to where we were at in the Bible.
To be fair, he's also dead.
Right.
So, I mean, there's that.
There is.
Just saying.
Right. But it just seemed like a good idea to take a pause.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will be pulling him back off the shelf and, dusting him off and probably prefacing each episode that we do with him that he's a sexist dead schmuck.
But the books themselves have a lot of good reference or, they're great material.
We've said before, there's no need to throw out the baby with the bathwater.
Right. Not to get off on a tangent here about Isaac Asimov book club, but this was more about thank you, Bridget.
Thank you so much, Bridget, and thank you for voicing what you would like to hear more of.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you and we love hearing from you and everybody.
And we can't wait to keep hearing from you.
Yeah.
And we love that you love us. So we definitely love our fans and we love doing this for you. It is our pleasure, and you helping us do what we do just absolutely makes our day.
It does. It floors us every time we get to say something like this.
Yes, it does. That being said, are you ready to get into Ezekiel chapter 15?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's do this.
Okie dokie. All right, we are going to jump into Ezekiel chapter 15.
All right, Ezekiel chapter 15.
Let's see what EZK got to say to us today.
Let's do it.
The word of the Lord came to me.
Again?
Yeah. Every chapter.
It's every chapter.
All right, so this is God talking now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Son of man.
Yeah, mere human.
You worm. How is the wood of a vine different from that of a branch from any of the trees in the forest?
How, is that
rhetorical question?
I'm not sure.
Like, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck would?
I mean, it's pliable, right? Like you can bend it.
It's bendy, like a bendy straw.
You can swing on it like Tarzan.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's strong.
It is strong, but so are trees.
Yeah.
So that's not necessarily different.
Okay.
And I would say I would definitely trust a tree a lot more than a vine.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm just saying,
I would not swing on either.
I have swung on a tree vine before.
I believe you.
And it was really fun.
I bet it was for you.
It was.
Yeah. So is wood ever taken from it to make anything useful?
I don't know. A swing.
Okay, but
I guess it's not taken from it.
Grapevines, I think is what they're talking about here.
All right.
Do they make pegs from it to hang things on?
I'm going to go with no, probably.
And after it is thrown on the fire as fuel and the fire burns both ends and charges the middle, is it then useful for anything?
It's charred.
So is it? No.
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it was not useful for anything when it was whole, how much less can it be made into something useful when the fire has burned it and it is charred?
Oh my God. So he's literally going, you see how useless you fucks are? You're so useless that when I char you, you're going to be that much more useless. For fuck's sake, I'm going to destroy the fuck out of you.
You are so worthless. You are garbage. You are trash. And now I'm going to burn you like yesterday's fish sandwich.
They love telling these people how much God, apparently, whoever the fuck wrote this, whatever the fuck this is, love telling other human beings how much they fucking suck and how hard and how bad and how much they're gonna die.
But you know what really, really sucks about this is not just that the person that wrote this loves telling them how much they suck. What really is sad about this is how much the people on the receiving end love and swallow that message. Like they internalize, I do suck.
But okay, I'm going to push back on it just a little bit because like I feel like when I have been to church, right? And you're sitting there listening to the pastor or preacher or whoever talk to you about whatever you're learning that day, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's usually some message that they have deemed appropriate to share with the group, right?
Mm-hmm. The congregation,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's usually a message in it that they will teach you what that message is after they get done reading the section, right? So most people that I have ever known, it feels like they don't really even listen to the part that's read about the Bible, right?
Yeah, they just want the lesson part.
They want the lesson part.
Yeah.
They want the part that their pastor or preacher or whatever tells them at the end and says, this is what you're supposed to take from that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so by doing so, it allows everybody who is going to church to cherry pick.
Right.
Whatever their pastor, preacher, whatever person tells them, that is what the gospel is. You know?
Right. I was referring more to the fact that when this was first all put together, like the people that were listening to this were like, we do suck. We are mere humans. We are worms.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And God is great and we are trash.
Okay.
And it's like, I'm sad that you really feel that way about yourself. Like, self-esteem is hard, self-love, finding a way to be happy in your own skin, right?
Right.
Finding a way to reconcile your flaws with your hopes and dreams and your regrets and your wishes to be a better person and all that, right? It's hard to find that middle ground and just take care of you.
Yeah.
And this is like, you shouldn't because you suck.
Yeah.
And it's like, ouch.
Right. Yeah.
Like this, if I had grown up with this kind of message, like, trigger warning here, because I'm about to say something like dark and deep, but because of my mental health issues and the deep depressions that I have suffered prior to medication, if I had grown up listening to this kind of thing, I probably would not be here today.
Right.
Is what I'm getting from this. If you grew up
with somebody telling you that this is how you should feel about yourself.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean.
That you just are, that this is the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
Right.
Because the way that I am as a reader, I would internalize this. I would take this message to heart because I know that because that's how I am with everything that I get into. You know?
Right.
With every message that I'm like, okay, I want to really understand what I'm reading. So I'm going to read this hard and close.
Yeah.
And I'm going to reflect on it. Like, that's just who I am, right? So I know that if I grew up reading this and this was the message that I was receiving all the time, I would probably not be here today. And that makes me so sad. And it makes me wonder, like, how many people internalize this message?
Sure.
I'm here to tell you, you don't suck, y'all.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Way off topic. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says.
Okay.
Some more.
Okay. So, yeah.
As I have given the wood of the vine among the trees of the forest as fuel for the fire, so will I treat the people living in Jerusalem. You're a fucking worthless vine.
Yeah.
I'm going to burn your shit.
Right.
I will set my face against them, he repeats.
Okay.
Although they have come out of the fire will yet consume them. And when I set my face against them, you will know
that my name is the Lord.
I am the Lord. I will make the land desolate because they have been unfaithful, declares the sovereign Lord.
Okay.
The end.
Oh, that's the end. Okay.
You look so tired and put out over this.
Well, no, I mean, I knew that we were in for a little bit of a I assumed we were in for a little bit of a follow-up after that last chapter, right?
Yeah.
And that last chapter was so terrible.
Yeah.
That this was a bad chapter. I mean, like, he's talking about killing Jerusalem again, right? And it's not a fun conversation, but it pales in comparison to the conversation he was having about how to kill all the people in the last chapter, right?
Right.
So I guess I'm just a little bit like, okay, here God's doing it again.
He's got his hate on for you some more. Still,
and yes,
always.
I could go off and get very angry again, and I am very angry, but it would be the same words. It would be the same thing.
Tonight you're just tired.
I am a little bit tired tonight too. So I if I sound a little bit like kind of off, I apologize, guys.
No,
I don't know. I've had a long day, so
I don't feel like you're tired in general. That's not what I meant. And I mean, you are because you work hard.
You can see my face. So.
Yeah. You got the hangdog eyes. But mostly I just meant that, like, this message is like, we're reading this every fucking day.
Yeah.
It's wearing to try to remember this is not directed at us. No, we're fine. We don't suck.
Well, yeah. And no, and it also disturbs me personally a little bit because I'm not able to get as worked up as I want to be about the things that are terrible in here sometimes.
Right.
Because we just finished talking about a fever dream of killing multitudes of people multiple different ways in the last chapter, right? Like, that's fucking horrible.
The shock value is wearing off because there's so much that's shocking or tragic or horrendous that, like, if we got mad and worked up and yelled and hollered and just went off every single time, like, we'd never...
It would get old probably, Like, I mean, people would say, Well, you can't get that angry about it all. I mean, like, why are you guys angry every single episode?
I'm like,
well, because God's kind of a dick every single episode, guys.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he just is. He's terrible. He's fucking horrible.
It's like asking a person who's being abused by their spouse, why are you always so mad at that person? Like, well, you're right. Today, I didn't get punched in the eye. Today, I merely got called a worthless piece of shit. So you're right.
Yeah.
You know, comparatively speaking, I suppose I should be happy and grateful, ? Like, that's what this feels like. It feels like it's trying to wear you down so that you accept abuse.
Well, I mean, I think ultimately that's part of it. You're supposed to fear and grovel before God and worship him and without question. And, you know, there is definitely an element of being subservient and beneath God, right? I mean, like, even in the wording they use by calling them Son of Man and things like that.
Right.
And
which literally does translate to mere human.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is about subservience to God, right? And just accepting your role and being less than. And it's just a terrible fucking message.
Right.
It's a terrible message, even just at the highest levels of it, with regard to how you should view your self-worth.
Well, that mixes with the fact that you're supposed to accept that you are, quote unquote, born a sinner. You know, you come into this world not deserving. You are already a piece of shit even before you've taken your first breath.
I rail against that concept. I mean, that is that's not okay.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Like, we all have a chance in this life to be the best person that we can be. And you know, to have grace, if you will, like, to steal a religious word, but to use it, I think, more effectively to extend grace to ourselves and to each other.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Well, so that was Ezekiel chapter 15.
Sure as fuck was.
Which means that tomorrow is Saturday, and we will be back with
Q&A Saturday.
And then on Sunday, we'll be doing a
Patreon.
And then I will get the weekly wrap-up out, and we will be back on Monday with
Ezekiel chapter 16.
All right, we'll see you then.
Bye. Husband.
Wife.
Do you know what today is?
Well, today is Saturday, which means that we're doing
Q&A Saturday.
And what are we Qing and Aing today?
We had a couple of questions, basically from Ezekiel chapters 11 and 12. We're covering chapters 11 through 15.
Okay.
But the specifically questions that we had came from those two chapters.
Okay. All right.
So that's what we'll be talking about today.
Awesome. I just wanted to touch base real quick here while we're on here in the intro and just say that I haven't announced everybody yet because we still have messages pending and different things like that. But we've had some multiple people jump onto our Patreon drive, and some of them are still in their free trial, and some of them I'm waiting on responses to what I had sent them. But thank you guys for responding to what we're trying to do here.
Yes, definitely.
Really, really appreciate you. And we will get those shout-outs done. They are going to be usually during our normal run of the week. So they'll be coming up here in the next week or two. So just bear with us on that stuff. But just a short thank you. So thank you.
Yes, definitely. Thank you from the bottom of our cold little godless hearts. We are so grateful.
That being said, we still are quite a ways away from our goal. So if you do have the ability to give us $1 or $2 a month, definitely hop over to our website, sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, and click on the link there where we're tracking the drive, and it'll take you right to our Patreon, and you can sign up right there and help us out.
Yep.
That being said, are you ready to get into this Q&A, wife?
I sure as fuck am.
All right, let's do this.
Okie dokie. All right, so we are here with our Q&A, going over chapters 11 through 15 of Ezekiel.
Yep.
Ezekiel.
Yeah.
And I thought I would go over a real quick, easy question and then the more confusing, longer answer question after that.
It's an easy question, but it's an easy Kyle question.
It is,
Okay.
actually.
All right. Just checking.
In chapter 11, verse 3, it reads, they say, haven't our houses been recently built? This city is a pot, and we are the meat in it.
Yeah.
And we had questions like, honestly, what the fuck?
Right.
Like, we didn't really get that whole analogy thing.
Right.
And it just didn't, we kind of just read over it. We were like, okay, whatever, God.
Yeah. Meat in a pot, whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
we can imagine-ish, you know.
Sure. Well, with regard to the rebuilding of houses, that was a symbol that peace was happening.
Got it.
So when they said, haven't our houses been recently rebuilt? They were like, what? It's, you know, we're confident that all is well and it's peacetime and, you know, we can go ahead and ignore all threats of any further Babylonian invasion.
Got it. Yeah.
So that's what that part referred to.
Okay.
As far as the pot, the city would be a shield around them as the cauldron is to seething flesh. Okay.
Okay.
So they were looking at themselves not in like a pot on the stove, but more as like a Tupperware dish.
Okay.
Okay. They were protected. And also that they are choice pieces of meat. They are the fancy ones.
Oh.
Okay. In Jerusalem, that is.
Right.
Okay. They were the good folk left behind. Like they kind of looked down on the people who had already been exiled, kidnapped, picked up, and moved elsewhere.
Yeah.
So the people left behind felt like they were the good ends. They were the choice meat, and they were being stored safely within their little city.
Yeah.
Okay. And it made them feel good to think that.
Got it.
As for the meat, the metaphor seems to imply, like I said, that the people in Jerusalem were the choice cuts of meat, while the exiles in Babylon were just the scraps and rejected pieces. And we know from what we've read that it was exactly the opposite, that when Babylon and Assyria before them came into a city, they would kidnap the cream of the crop and, you know, slowly over and over again so that all that was left was the dregs.
Sure.
So,
but I mean, if you are those people that are left, you are obviously going to view yourself in a better light.
Sure.
You're going to find any reason to think better of the situation.
I'm not trying to talk about how they felt.
Right.
I'm just saying it was a common war practice to take the cream of the crop people, the more talented, the more rich, the more skilled, because then it leaves the more less qualified.
Well, and also those are generally people that are leaders in the community, which cuts down on people fighting against the people trying to control you.
Exactly. Like not only are the only people left unlikely to be able to fight, but they are also less likely to be able to lead. Right. So, yeah, that's what I mean by dregs of society.
Got it.
They were just, there was no reason to kidnap them.
Sure.
So it's just ironic that they felt that they were, you know, the choice meat and that they were safe in their little Tupperware dish.
Yeah.
So going on to verse 6, then it says, you have killed many people in this city and filled its streets with the dead. And then verse 7 says, therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says. The bodies you have thrown there are the meat, and this city is the pot, but I will drive you out of it. And that means Jerusalem is no longer a crock in which the food is securely stored. Sorry.
Right, yeah.
That was my dyslexia acting up.
Yep.
Instead, she is now a pot over the fire in which the meat is being cooked.
Got it.
So now she's that pot. She's not the Tupperware dish anymore, unless you're talking about putting your Tupperware dish in the microwave.
Right.
Which, you know, that could be a thing.
Yeah.
But regardless, Jerusalem is not going to be a protection for them anymore. And God is going to scatter the people.
Okay.
So we just had some kind of questions about that, and we're like a little...
Just clarifying, basically.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we were confused. It just seemed like an odd thing to say.
Yeah.
So that's what that meant.
Okay.
Okay, now moving on to chapter 12.
Yeah.
We had some confusion as to where Ezekiel was when he was doing his little pantomime shit where he was packing his bag and pretending to go into exile. We thought maybe that he was back in Jerusalem and this was taking place before anybody was exiled.
Well, and I know, just to interject here real quick, I know that you had said that I was confused too. So like you had said that he was part of the second exile, which confused me a little bit because I was thinking that the second exile was the one where basically Jerusalem was sacked. Right. But it's not. There was essentially 3 exiles. There was one in 605, there was one in 597, and then one in like 586. Those were the 3 exiles.
And the last one was when Jerusalem fell.
Right.
But
when they refer to the second exile, they're referring to the 597 one, which is when
Ezekiel and his wife
went to Babylon, essentially. So,
and that's where he was when he was doing his little pantomime stuff.
Right.
And we were confused because we're like, they're already in exile, so why would he be talking about exile to the exiled?
Right. Yeah, that's just weird.
So in chapter 12, verse 3, it reads, "Therefore, son of man, pack your belongings for exile, and in the daytime as they watch, set out and go from where you are to another place." So it would have seemed like he was back in Vision Land, or else that this took place prior to him having left Jerusalem, that he was speaking to the people of Judah or Jerusalem.
Yeah.
But no, he was actually doing this show for the Babylonian exiles.
Okay.
And here's why. God commanded Ezekiel to act as if he were going into captivity or exile, even though he was already an exile in Babylon. God wanted him to act this out among the exiles to make a message from God clear that all those remaining in Judah would go into captivity. And it's important to keep in mind that there were many false prophets during this time in Judah, Jerusalem, and even among the exiles in Babylon. And the false prophets were promising that God would rescue his people from the Babylonians.
Got it.
So he was speaking to his brethren saying,
he's like, no, we ain't gonna get rescued.
Yeah, he's saying, that thing that we went through, this thing that I'm play acting, our folks back home are gonna be doing this too in a minute.
Right.
So just, stop with your nonsense.
Right.
And rival prophets were foretelling a speedy return to a flourishing Jerusalem. And he was like shaking his head, nope, not going to happen.
Got it.
And it was likely hoped that this action would make the refugees realize that those left in Jerusalem would shortly be joining those who had already been deported to Babylon. So that makes a little bit more sense in regard to where he was and what he was doing.
Sure.
But it seems like really weird that he had to play act this and couldn't just be like, hey, those guys back home are going to have to pack their bags soon.
So says the Lord.
Right? Like, I don't know. The whole play acting thing just seems really just unnecessary and dramatic. And
yeah.
But I guess if he's doing this all day, he's probably gathering a crowd.
Right.
And then, when they're like, look at this freak, look what he's doing. Look, he's digging holes in walls and shit. Hey, watch this guy. And then as they gather, then he can stand up and be like, so this is what I was doing before a large crowd.
Well, and it seems like they are very big on demonstration. Like the Ezekiel in particular is really big on demonstrations, right?
Yes.
There was that whole hypothetical year and a half where Ezekiel was supposed to like lie on the ground and shit on the floor and whatever the fuck he was doing.
A day for every year of sin or something.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, so like that was supposed to be a performance in front of people. This is supposed to be a performance in front of people.
Right.
He had all the elders over at his house, and that's when he had one of his visions. So that was kind of a performance in front of people.
Sure.
Like there's just all this like performative
performance art.
Yeah. So it's interesting. And also the stories in Ezekiel are very fantastical also.
Yes.
So it seems almost like it's almost try hard. It's really
everything's over the top.
It's a lot. Yeah.
It is a lot. Ezekiel is a lot. I will say that.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe it was more about shock and awe to really capture the imagination of the people that he was talking to than it is about the truth of what he hypothetically was hearing from God.
Right.
You know?
Like, I would expect this play acting show from earlier cultures who were still developing language.
Right.
But to find that these people are capable of using words, they're at the point where they're writing shit down, but still they're like, I'm going to pantomime eating instead of just saying the words, I'm hungry.
Right.
Like, what? Just use your words, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know. Different cultures, different times. Obviously, I can't possibly put my head into that space, but...
Sure.
So that's what that was about.
Okay. Was that all the cues that were aiding today?
That I ate all the cues that we had.
You ate all the cues. Okay. Well, this was a short episode today.
It was.
All right. Well,
hopefully I cleared up any confusion that we might have had.
I think that helped out a lot. Like I was confused, like I said, about the timeline. How many exiles there were.
Yeah.
Because I thought there was only really 2 that they were counting, and there are 3. So that was a bit confusing for me, and I think that's where I got hung up throughout the week. So, but yeah, that definitely clears up some stuff, and So that being said, we'll be back tomorrow with our
Patreon,
right, and then I will get the weekly wrap up out. And then we'll be back on Monday with
Ezekiel chapter 16.
All right. We'll see you then.
Bye. Husband.
Wife.
Do you know what we're doing today?
Well, today is not Sunday, but we are doing this on a Monday, which is Memorial Day weekend. So that means that today is kind of, sort of, still
Patreon.
That's right. And what are we Patreoning today?
Well, let me ask you a question first.
Okay.
Would you rather be alone in the woods with a man or a bear?
Well, I think that's an unfair question for me because I'm a man.
Still.
So, I mean, technically, I could be alone with myself, and I'd rather see me than a bear, but I know that that's not the point of the question. So, I think that this is a better question for you.
I would always choose the bear.
Fair enough.
For more than one reason,
right,
some of which don't even pertain to what this debate is about. But I thought that's what we would discuss today. Sexism in general and in the atheist community in particular.
Okay. All right. So I guess we're going to be doing the bear versus man discussion then.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do this.
Okie dokie. Okay, so we are going to talk about the man or bear question.
Okay.
And before we do that, I'd like to kind of address your reticence to even respond to it in the intro.
Yeah.
And you kind of looked at me like I was cuckoo. And I wanted to explain that a lot of men even have responded, not just women, that they would prefer the bear over the man.
Got it.
Some of the reasoning is because a bear attacking you in the woods is just doing what an animal does. There's no malice. It's just nature.
Sure.
A man can do any number of things that are not just rapey. They can keep you alive and torture you for ages. And that's why a lot of people would choose the bear. Like, you may die under most circumstances, but one lacks malice or recording it for others to laugh at, or, what were you wearing when you were being attacked by the bear kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Okay. All right.
It's the acknowledgement that man can be so much worse than the bear.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, it's nature versus malice, right? Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the ultimately that's the argument.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I think that ultimately women have a lot more reason to not want to be alone with a man in the woods than a man would have to be.
Sure.
So, while I agree with you on intent and malice and things like that, I think that someone who could be dangerous to another human being that is a woman in the woods wouldn't necessarily be the same danger to a man in the same scenario. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, definitely. I just wanted to put out there that you felt like it wasn't necessarily a fair question to ask you,
right?
Given that like you are a man,
sure.
And I just wanted to put out there that it is a fair question to ask of any gender because it is the question in itself is a thought exercise on cruelty of man.
Right. I understand that.
That actually opens the door into what even are we talking about, right?
Yeah.
So there was a TikTok video that surfaced wherein a man asked 8 women, if you were alone in a forest, would you prefer to be alone with a man or a bear?
Sure.
And 7 of the 8, without even stopping to think about it, chose the bear.
Right.
And that should have been the end of it. That should have been yep, that makes sense. That tracks, right? But instead, it blew up into this whole, like, debate, and they took the thought exercise and turned it into this legitimate, it depends on this forest, and it depends on the type of bear. And,
right.
Statistically, blah, blah, blah. The man who is like, well, actually.
Right.
And so that kind of gets even further to the point of, yep, and that's why I'd still rather choose the bear.
Yeah.
Like, instead of, like, explaining why my choice was stupid, you're actually proving that I made the right choice.
Right.
So, this gets into, like, mansplaining and men being indignant and just offended and how dare and not all men but women are hateful too, and
sure,
bears are way more likely. Oh no, what happened?
Well, this is a special Patreon episode, actually, which means that they need to go to Patreon and subscribe as a patron in order to listen to it.
Okay, well, I guess that we are going to go do that now.
Yeah, just head over to patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse, become a member for as low as $2 a month, and you'll have access to all these special things and goodies too. So, go do that.
So this was just a teaser.
Yeah, teaser.
Okay, just
Bye.
checking.
Okay,
Bye.
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 Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.